All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. It is Friday, October 14th, 9:01 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to join me this morning and every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on our YouTube channel, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Click on that black logo, turn on notifications, subscribe to our channel, make sure to hit that like button. Takes about a second out of your day just to click that like button. Really helps us out, at least with the channel. As always, let's go ahead and rock and roll. Nice turnaround yesterday. Let's go ahead and talk about the turnaround before I start looking at futures. We flipped into green yesterday. I put a tweet out yesterday, and I think it's a very important tweet as investors and traders start to look at. And it's something that I've been explaining to the team pretty much on a daily at this point. That you're going to get to a point where all the bad news and Armageddon is pretty much priced in to that point where you're expecting the world to fall, the world to end, and any glimmer of hope, any kind of good news creates some kind of spike, and that's just normal with bear market rallies. We saw that in the summer with peak inflation, thinking that it was going to come, or a possible Fed pivot. We didn't get that, obviously. So again, you get those rallies, you get those bounces. That happens. Again, what we're looking for, as always, is do we get a pivot, A, and B, do we get a pivot from the Fed, excuse me, and do we get rates to come down a little bit? Do we start getting some bad news in order to kind of keep the Fed at bay from raising? We did get some bad news, I guess, something that helps the cause. Retail sales came in today, and retail sales came in flat with an expectation of growth of 0.2%. So great for that, I guess. I mean, it was one of those things that are we hoping for bad news, and in a way we kind of are. Let me go ahead and get that tweet for you, and here it is, and it's an important one, guys. You can see here, at some point you'll price in the worst case scenario in everything, and any glimmer of hope, you get a sharp rally. I wrote that yesterday at 11:30 yesterday morning when we were up 800 points. We did catch spike calls. Well done, team. But again, at the end of the day, it's been such a crazy market, and we're going to go over a couple of things together. Let's go over the futures. Dow futures up 270 points. NASDAQ up 1% this morning. S&P up 1%. Russell 2000 up 1.12%. Crude oil down 1.68%, 87.61 a barrel, excuse me. Gasoline futures down 2%. 10-year yields are falling a little bit. Let's see, we're at now 3.883. That 4% seems to be that resistance, so that's good news that it held. Dollar index came back down, but it's up 0.27%. The volatility index is starting to break now, the VIX. So I still think we probably have a little more upside here, maybe the target being 3,800. If we can get to around below 30 on VIX. So if we can break 30 on the VIX, then yeah, we start looking at 3,800 as that resistance here on the S&P. If we want to take a look at SPY, that would be right at 378. So again, that would be your target. And the only reason I would say that, okay, yesterday we were thinking the world was over, really the pivot point is your June lows. We've been talking that ad nauseum for a while now. 36, 39, again, if that stays above, that's a good sign. The weekly, remember the weekly chart, that 200-day, look at that. It didn't settle below, but it broke below, but it's still holding. So that's a big level for traders. That's really why we bounced yesterday, was really just a short squeeze. Just buying the dip, probably some funds or machines were buying the dip, and then you got a short squeeze ignition rally. Again, when everyone's closing their position short, you're going to get people to buy. That's pretty much what happens. Some good news as well on the S&P front. If we can close above the 20-day moving average, we know the 20-day is important. Again, if we can break that, that'll really give us that momentum to get to 3,800. And then after that, guys, you can really just short it again and get back to the June lows. And you can just play this as it goes. How about this? A little bit of a head and shoulders setup. Maybe we roll over after 3,800. We could do that too. So I would say short term, 3,800 is your resistance. That's what the target we're looking for. If we can close above the 20 on the daily, which is right around 37.16, and more than likely, I'd probably hedge by shorting there at 3,800. If we start breaking above 38.25, then you would close those shorts and stay tactically long until 39.20, and so on and so forth. But again, I think 3,800, just a small little rally, gets us a little above this in a head and shoulders should set up, and we should roll over at least to retest 36.69. Should we be buying stock here? Not as of yet. I mean, we got some earnings, some banks came in pretty solid, nothing really crazy in terms of standing out. Citibank posted their numbers. They beat $1.50 versus $1.45. Revenue did beat as well for Citi. Morgan Stanley did beat, and they missed on revenue expectations. JP Morgan, let me see if I can get the JP Morgan. They came in at $3.12 versus $2.88. And they beat on sales 33.49 billion, which is revenue 32.10 billion. So JPM, again, I do own JPM. Goldman Sachs reports on Monday. I have shares of that company as well. Amazon just put out some numbers. The recent Prime Early Access event is estimated to have brought in $5.7 billion in revenue, according to Bank of America. And then, of course, retail sales were flat today. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. You could see pretty much flat, 0.2% estimate, 0.4 prior month. So again, sinking a little bit here, 0.1% prior, excluding autos and gas, up 0.3% versus 0.2% estimate, 0.6 prior. So again, if you're looking at just core sales, excluding autos and gas, you're seeing the retail sales are up, but again, still dropping. So that again, we're seeing some demand destruction, I guess, in terms of the retail side. Employment is still strong, and as long as people have jobs, guys, people are going to go ahead and spend. So that's a very difficult scenario. Can we get people not to spend even though they're employed? And that would bring down inflation. It's really an employment problem. We have a labor shortage. Not enough people to fill the jobs. And again, that creates higher wages, and then that hurts inflation. So again, the fight is still going on. But again, there is some opportunities out there. The dollar coming down to test that 200-day, 200 MA, excuse me. So again, my target is 3,800 on S&P. I'd probably short there as resistance and go from there. I do have some SPY calls still holding from yesterday. Gold futures down about 0.58% this morning. Again, with a green market, again, that's a safe haven. Silver down 0.6%. Euro dollar is up 14 pips. Dollar again up 47, 147.70. Pound is up 112 to 112.80. That is down 47 pips. Let's go ahead and start taking a look at yields together and see where we are going. Let's go ahead and bring up the 2-year. You can see after that CPI pop, we started fading. The market started rallying. So again, this is an inverse correlation. We really want to get back down around 4.3%. The good news is that we stayed above 4.5 slightly, but then we came back down. 4.5% on the 2-year was our resistance. If we can retest here around 4.3%, we get to around 3,800 S&P. Let's go to the 10-year. 10-year looking a lot better than the 2-year, at least for equity holders. So the 10-year coming back down, testing the 3-day lows. So that's a good sign. Let's see if we continue down. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin again, that log chart. And remember, this is a weekly candle, a monthly candle. So again, you're not going to get a ton of movement in that sense. You could see that we got to the lows around 18,201, but it's still bouncing off that log line. That this is the trend line for Bitcoin on the monthly. So it really gives a wider view. We're still holding on to that. So again, Bitcoin is still a hold, at least for me, and I still buy some every week. Let's go to the S&P 500 and we'll compare some drawdowns that we had. Let's take a look at the COVID drawdowns, right around 33%. We're not at a drawdown of around 25.3%. If you're looking at a point where, Carlos, when would it end? Like, would this be the worst case scenario? You have two worst case scenarios. One, we match the COVID drop, which would get us to 3169 S&P. Again, that doesn't sound too far off. But again, if we're looking for literally DEFCON 5 or whatever, worst case scenario, it's testing the lows here, and that would be a 52% drop, a drop we haven't seen literally since the Great Depression. Is that likely? No. We would need some really bad stuff to happen. But right here around 31.77 isn't impossible. I doubt it, but it's not impossible. In terms of where the low would be, again, really the best thing to look at would be your 200 MA on the weekly, and that seems to be the chart that everyone needs to be seeing. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one more time, and then we'll answer some questions. Here's the weekly chart. There's your 200 MA. We broke it, but we settled above. Remember, this is a weekly chart. Today we close. Let's see where we are. But that seems to be that resistance is holding. We have not broken that since the COVID flush. Price to buy more Palantir. So again, just like yesterday, right now you're really just beholden to the equities. You're beholden to the indices. So again, if you're buying here, your best bet is the dollar cost average. I have an alert at $6.44 on Palantir. I still own it. So again, right now those high beta names are taking a hit, as we know, with higher interest rates. Right now you're just holding strong. Would I run out and buy more Palantir? No, I wouldn't run out and buy anything unless you're planning to DCA it, dollar cost average it, get a better price, and hold it long term. So that's really the only one I'm looking at. SpyG I bought yesterday. I buy it every Thursday. Of course, the stock market went up. That happens. What can you do? I hate it when the stock goes up when I want to buy, but that's just the way it goes. And again, kind of getting back to this, indices are running the world. Futures contracts are running the world right now. 3,800 being the target, and then I would probably buy some cheap protection, some cheap puts back to 36.50, and I think we can catch it with this head and shoulders formation that we have. So again, if we could just hold that neckline of around 37.35, if it gets to 3,800 again, we'll just play the rejection 36.39. But if we reject here around 37.33, 36.39 will break, and then you'll just probably retest the lows. Again, based on this head and shoulders pattern, if we have that. More than likely, it seems that 3,800 is our resistance. That's probably where you want to buy cheap protection. You buy protection when you don't need it, not when you have to have it. So again, you don't buy insurance on a car right after you crashed it. You buy it beforehand it crashes. Again, you don't want to buy home insurance when your building is burning. Same exact deal. So again, kind of a wild ride. Again, guys, yesterday, everyone was on one side of the fence in terms of shorting. Everyone was piled up short. And that's usually kind of that tinderbox, that lighting of the match. And then everything just goes on fire. And again, it doesn't mean the fundamentals have changed. Again, the rates are still going to go higher. The Fed is still hawkish. We're still seeing employment very strong. We got some earnings today that were pretty solid from the banks. But at the end of the day, we need to see the tech companies. Let's see how the dollar is affecting them. Banks actually profit from higher rates. So again, it helps them. Banks have been underperforming. So again, getting a little bounce in the banks isn't exactly something that's unexpected either. It's nice to see. But again, we still have a lot more to go, guys. At least the CPI number's done. We don't get a CPI number until next month. We don't have the Fed decision until next month. NFP next month. And as of right now, we got retail sales out. That's done. Flat. We had CPI. That was bad. PPI was bad, and we're okay. The world hasn't ended as of yet. So again, we did tap that 3,500 low, but we did bounce. So again, maybe that's your watermark level, 3,600 or so. I mean, if we can start breaking down there, then you can see we could retest 3,500. Kind of gives us a dip of the toe of the water of how low we can go. Am I ready to call a bottom? No. The Fed has not pivoted yet. They're still going to raise rates. The day they slow down on rate hikes or the day they stop, that's pretty much the day you want to buy, because then we're a little more stimulative than we are restrictive. We'll leave it there, guys. Have a great rest of your morning. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Monday for the morning note. Big football games. Baseball today. The Yankees game today against Cleveland. That was postponed yesterday. It's happening today. Can't wait to watch that. We got Cowboys and Eagles on Sunday night football. Can't wait. Chiefs and Bills is going to be a great one. I'm going to be sitting down in my chair watching the Red Zone all day. And, can't wait for football Sunday, my favorite day of the week, and then back to work on Monday. And again, don't forget, 18th, 19th, to the 20th November, we have the GAR Capital Workshop. Can't wait to see you guys there. Make sure to message Kevin Garcia, who's our VP, at Kev, K-E-V, GAR Capital, or at GAR Capital on Instagram, so we can get the details on the meetup. I can't wait to meet with you guys. Let's talk some strategies. Let's get ourselves set up for this possible future of, maybe a bounce. Did we hit the lows? What are some of the stocks we're watching? What exactly are we watching? Let's talk about the macro, what the Fed can do, scenarios, and pretty much the way we're going to do things moving forward as well. And if you've been a fan of our signal service or our group, we would love to see you around. I'd love to shake your hand, meet you in person, maybe have a drink and talk about markets. Should be always fun. And this is our first one. So again, if it's a great first meetup, we're going to do another one next year, and it's going to be way better. We'll probably rent out a nice space for all of us to get together. Hopefully Vegas, right? Crossing my fingers. Hopefully you guys like Vegas. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I will see you on Monday. Cheers.